I hear so many people talking about insurance relocation claims being the golden ticket to midterm rentals, and I'm actually here to tell you today how that's absolutely a terrible idea for most landlords. So stick around as we're going to talk about how difficult it actually is to land an insurance relocation claim and how many loopholes you actually have to jump through in order to make that happen. In this video, we're going to be breaking down exactly why focusing solely on insurance relocation claims is absolutely the wrong idea if you're wanting to build a successful midterm rental business. But I'm actually going to show you a chart and a graph that shows you who the people are that are actually looking for properties right now in the midterm rental space. So hang with me as we're gonna dive right into this. The idea of getting a $10,000 a month booking sounds freaking amazing to most people. In fact, companies like ALE Solutions, Dan Housing, and other insurance relocation companies do this on a regular basis. But the crazy thing about all this is that it's not as easy as it seems. In fact, I would say that out of all the claims that we work with on a regular basis, we only end up landing one of, say, 10 inquiries that actually come through. And so many people right now in this space are looking specifically just to get their insurance relocation homes listed on a platform and getting booked, but that's just not the case. We're gonna dive into a couple things that I'm seeing right now and how most people are wanting to get these bookings and how sometimes you have to be in the perfect environment. You have to have the perfect storm that actually happens, no pun intended, but literally has to happen in order for you to land these massive, bigger bookings than what you're typically used to seeing on platforms such as Airbnb or even Furnish Finder. One of the attractive things about the insurance relocation industry is that you get these high-paying clients that are staying with you for longer durations of time, and they're giving you higher pay. And what typically happens is that most people that own real estate, they have what's called loss of D coverage, and that coverage is actually a certain amount of money that those folks have that are able to pay for their housing if something like that were to happen where they're temporarily displaced. That loss of D coverage is allowing them to go stay at a property, and they say they have $100,000 of loss of D coverage. They can stay at your home for, say, 6 months while their home is being constructed or being put back together, and that allows them to be able to use that $100,000 over the next X amount of months in order to stay at your property. Most people don't realize that every single policyholder has a completely different type of insurance, especially when it comes to the loss of deed coverage, and those are all completely different. So many landlords are targeting this specific type of niche right now because it is high paying, it pays more than most traditional long-term rentals, and it definitely pays more than short-term rentals, and it's one of the fastest growing markets because people want to get paid that much money, and rightly so. I mean, I do too. But again, the coverage for each individual that has a policy is so different. So here's actually what needs to happen in order for you to land these types of clients. If family's home has to be burnt down or there has to be a flood, then their insurance company needs to offer a loss of use coverage. And then you actually have to go find a home just like yours. And then they have to look in the same zip code and they have to use their loss of D coverage and they need to meet your rent requirements. And that's where the stars need to align. See, in this specific midterm rental space for insurance relocation housing, you have to have the perfect property in the right spot at the right time. And somebody has to go through an unforeseen circumstance in order for you to land that property. And I know I've said this before. In fact, if you look up some of the research on this, every 88 seconds in the US, somebody loses their home due to a fire or some kind of catastrophic issue that goes on in a property. But it's so difficult to actually get your property booked when it comes to this specific thing happening. Again, there's this perfect storm that has to align. You also got to understand that there's so many variables that are outside of the landlord's control, just like I mentioned a minute ago. And I think sometimes most of the people that get in the space get lured in by that higher income that comes along with insurance relocation claims. One of the other things that I see happen way too often is that I've seen way too many landlords focus only on one type of avatar. And you guys know I freaking can't stand that word.
Why so blue?
And they end up just being super frustrated because they're just focusing on one individual type of client or avatar. And that ultimately is not going to work for the midterm rental space. You have to have a broad understanding of who you're going after. Yes, we want to get insurance claims. Yes, we want to be able to help those families. But the reality of those actually happening, they get small, it's small, it's smaller and smaller. So it's really important to have a bunch of different places to look at when you are trying to get your place booked. Before we jump into a little bit more about midterm rentals, I just want to let you know that I have a course and a mentorship where I'm watching so many people just like you build successful midterm rental businesses all across the US. In fact, in places that I never thought it was even possible. So if you are on the fence or you have a property that is not performing well, I would love to be able to work with you. I'm going to leave a link down below because we're actually bringing on 10 new clients to work with me for this month. Links down below. We're gonna jump right back into this. One of the biggest mistakes that I see landlords do is that they're putting all their eggs into one basket. And I don't mean like they're gonna go, Easter hunting or something like that, but they're putting it specifically just in the insurance relocation housing space. And they're spending all their time and energy trying to attract these insurance companies and these clients to their property when there are so many other clients to go after, and it's much easier to actually secure, and you can actually fill up properties year round rather than just sitting around waiting for one of these places to, again, somebody has to lose their property. So there's just so much more opportunities right now. One of the other things that I want to make sure that I highlight is so many people are waiting for these inquiries to come through, but there's so many vacancies that are in between. In fact, out of my properties that I have, I would say that a lot of them have 6 to 8 months of insurance relocation claims, and the other ones we're filling in with temporary housing folks that are coming in for relocation for their jobs. There's a lot of businesses that are doing things like that, and there's just a lot of vacancies that are actually in between these clients. So I find this to be a danger when you are specifically trying to facilitate to that one individual niche, or gosh, I hate that word too. One of the other things to think about is that people that are going after these insurance relocation claims, they are competing with hundreds of others in this specific space because it's growing, and it's growing rapidly. In fact, right now it's growing 6 times faster than Airbnbs. That's the midterm rental space. And again, they're only focusing on one specific client, and they're not diversifying their portfolios, which I think is so important, especially if you want to win in 2024 in midterm rentals. This chart from Furnish Finder breaks down the different types of clients who are requesting midterm rentals. So what we're actually seeing right now in this space is kind of crazy. Business, military make up for 32% of most people looking on Furnish Finder right now, which is incredibly massive. So if you're near a military base, if you are in a market that has a lot of seasonal workers, or there's infrastructure that's happening in that specific market that you're in, there was just an infrastructure bill that was passed in 2023, and we're seeing all over the US right now. There are people from literally everywhere that are going to these job sites to work for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and even years. One of the other things to pay attention to is that Furnish Finder used to only be where travel medical professionals were heading. That's absolutely not the case now. If we're looking at this chart, 30% of the people looking to book on Furnish Finder are actually medical professionals, when back in the day, Furnish Finder was primarily only used by clinicians, and that has completely changed here in 2024. And here's the kicker. We just talked about this a minute ago. 18% of people looking for properties on Furnish Finder are insurance transition and relocation claims. That's multiple different people. That's people that are looking to transition to a new market with a new home. Those are insurance relocation claims. So this might actually be even smaller than we're thinking about right now. One of the other pieces of this puzzle is actually academics, professionals, and grad students. This is a market that I feel has tremendous opportunity. So if you're in a smaller city that has a university or a college, you have the ability to attract professors and things of that nature. And I think that's really a great way to get a sustainable, longer term relationship, not only with the school that's in your market, but also the individuals that are coming to stay for the semester or 2 or 3, whatever that term is. And rounding it all up at the very end is going to be long-term digital nomads. And just so you guys know, I'm going to give you a little bit of context to this. There's 35 million digital nomads in the US right now. Sorry, not the US, in the world. And that's a massive amount of people, but not all of them are staying in property. So that's just a small piece of the pie. If you're looking at hosting any of these folks, you want to make sure that you have a broad spectrum of individuals that you're looking to host. And again, I'm seeing way too many people do this the absolutely wrong way, where they're not focusing on anybody else other than the insurance relocation claims. That's a big no-no in my book. So what's my biggest takeaway? Don't make the mistake of just relying on one type of client, especially the unpredictable as insurance relocation. Build your business on a broader client base. Traveling nurses, business clients, digital nomads, they're actually actively looking for housing. And I think it's really important to make sure that you're doing that. I own multiple different properties, and out of all my homes, they're typically in B+ neighborhoods or better. And one of the things that I like about the properties I pick up is that they are 3-bedroom, 2-bath or bigger. What I want to say right now is that I do have the ability to house a family that loses their home, because the traditional home in the US right now is a 3-bedroom, 1.5-bath. So I fall into that bucket that I'm able to help those people. I look for travel nurses that are traveling in groups, 3 or 4 nurses that are coming in groups. And I've seen this a massive turn, especially since 2020, since COVID. A lot of millennials are traveling in groups. So make sure that you focus on those kinds of things. And for businesses and companies that are construction companies and things of that nature, 3 bedrooms plus allows multiple different guys or gals or business partners or whatever, whatnot, to stay in your property. So if you're connecting with a construction company that is on assignment somewhere, or if you happen to drive by a Dave & Buster's like I did that was being built from the ground up, and they had work trucks that were parked outside from Louisiana. I'm in California. Why are those trucks there? I picked up the phone, I dialed the company, ended up being 5 engineers that were actually staying at a Holiday Inn Express down the road, and they were paying over $20,000 to have these 5 engineers staying at a Holiday Inn Express. I ended up booking my house specifically to them, which was a 4-bedroom, 2-bath for over $10,000 a month. So there's definitely ways to build in this space right now that could really bring in the cash flow that you want, and you're not necessarily relying and waiting for something insignificant to happen to somebody. One of the biggest takeaways from this video as well is that I want to make sure that you guys really think about diversifying your portfolio, and that is again going after different types of clients. We did get a chance to see that there are so many different clients that are heading all across the US. In fact, this is a lot different than what we thought, a lot of people thought. And thank you to Furnish Finder for actually putting this together for us at the 2024 Midterm Rental Summit, which is freaking amazing. And we hope to see you there next year. I'm going to be hosting another one in sunny San Diego. If this video opens your eyes to the dangers of focusing only on insurance relocation, hit that like button, subscribe button for more midterm rental insights. Drop a comment down below. Let me know if you ever thought about going after high paying clients or if you're actually looking to go after different types of clients. Remember, the key to success is diversification. Let's build businesses that actually last. And if you want to learn how to do this specifically, I have a course and a mentorship where I show people how to build these successful businesses. And I can't tell you guys how much and how excited I am to watch people just like you who are building thriving midterm rental businesses by going after clients, by connecting with these companies, by building insurance relocation databases and actually building these connections with these companies. And yes, I did make it sound like it's difficult. And yes, I did say it's a bad strategy if you're only focusing on that one specific type. So again, I would love to work with you guys. I hope you like this. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.